Hey Wargamers, really informal video today. Today is the 10-year anniversary of Invasive Wargaming, and I just want to take the opportunity to say thank you. This has been a really fun thing for me. Hopefully it's been entertaining, if not informative for you. And it's just been a great time. So thank you so much for the past 10 years. There's been periods where the channel has done better, periods where it's slowed down. But I'm really excited for what the future is going to bring and all the types of content we're going to get to explore going into 10th edition 40K. It's just really exciting. And again, I want to say thank you to all of you folks who have been watching the videos, commenting, subscribing, whatever you do, however you interact with it. I appreciate it. If you're a patron, I double appreciate it. That means a ton to me. Even if your pledge is $1, every little bit is amazing in my eyes. So I just thank you so much. Playing in the background right now is my first video that I made 10 years ago. And it's it's not my favorite. I actually took it down. It's listed as private because I think it's really cringy. I was doing this weird voice effect where I was trying to emulate some of the shoutcasters that I watched and stuff like that, and it's not great. But as a present to you, I will humbly attach that to the end of this video. So if you want to see the first Invasive Wargaming video, you can stick around and watch that and have a chuckle at how I do things then. It was a different time, of course, and everything's different. But back then I went by Invasive Ramnus, and you may have noticed that if you've watched some of my older videos, I stuck with that for quite a bit. The whole idea was, I thought for a while before that, I was like, oh, that'd be like a cool band name or something. I don't think it would be a cool band name anymore, but at the time I did. And then when I created the YouTube channel, I was like, well, I guess I'm going to stick with that. And so that's what I did. And then eventually changed it to Invasive Wargaming because that's a little bit more intuitive while still sticking with the general theme. So again, just thanks. Thanks for the 10 years, guys. It's been great. As always, thanks for watching, and happy wargaming.
Hello, Wargamers, and possibly people looking for college fraternity videos. Maybe, possibly. I'm Invasive Ramnus, and this is my 1,850 point list for the Tau Empire, an army in the little-known game of Warhammer 40,000. Just want to give you a brief overview of my list before the Codex comes out on April 6, 2013. And my army will probably change at least just a little bit. But I want to do a quick introduction of myself and my army, who I am, what I like to do with these guys here before the new Codex comes out, so that we get to know each other, you and I. Well, more so you getting to know me than the other way around, but that's all right. Anyway, so my army is pretty much what you see here. I have a commander, which either I'll use the AFP as you see shown here, or I will switch them out for a standard missile pod and plasma rifle configuration. Just knock some guys over there. That's why the camera's a little shaky. But as you can see right there. Good. All right. So I have 3 units of Fire Warriors, one of which is mounted in a Devilfish, 2 units of 3 Crisis Suits, Plasma Rifle, Missile Pod, Multi-Tracker. That's the way I like it. And that's pretty much the only way I use Crisis Suits. I do use the Death Rain on occasion, switch out the Piranha maybe for a Death Rain suit, but this seems to be working pretty well for me. And then, of course, the Piranha, like I just mentioned, 3 broadsides, and then the railhead. I do use the ion head on occasion, but the railhead seems to be working super nice for me lately. So there's not a lot of pressure for me to go back. But I do have a allied contingent of Eldar, consisting of 5 Pathfinders, and then either just a normal Farseer or Eldrad if my opponent will let me use this Farseer as Eldrad. I think that it's you know, it's a reasonable thing to proxy because it did use green stuff. See this nice banner here. If you use green stuff, then it counts as a proxy, right? So that's okay. You can do that. Just kidding. I understand if someone does not want me to use that as a Eldrad model, seeing as there is an Eldrad model, I just haven't gotten one yet. That might not need to, though, depending on the new codex. Anyway, just a little bit about myself. I started playing Warhammer in general in about 1999. I started playing fantasy and then gradually transitioned over to 40k like a lot of people do. Fell in love with the Tau, mostly because of the crisis suit. Again, not surprising, a lot of people love the aesthetic of the suit or the idea of a robot fighting army, which is super cool. One thing about the crisis suit, of course, that everyone laments is that it's kind of boxy, slightly outdated aesthetic, although if you are into 1980s anime, then you should love it. And you know, it's grown on me a lot. I think it's pretty sweet. Number 2 downside is the wimpy ankles that break off, and if they break off, then you that's a pain in the butt. So yeah, but got into Tau slightly after that, took a break for about a decade, and came back a couple years ago. Well, I guess it wasn't about a decade because Tau came out about a decade ago. But let's give it take a few years here, all right? So that's what I did, and came back and started repainting a lot of my army. So you can see that some of these crisis suits look a little bit different. Like the aerials on these guys are red, whereas on this guy it is gray. That's because I painted this guy about a year ago, and I painted this guy about 10 years ago. So gives you a little bit of an idea. These are my new Fire Warriors. I really like how they look. I'm not a great painter, but I do pretty well, I think. These have a nice brown and gray contrast, which is a nice light dark contrast, and they have a nice rich red color in there as well. Camera's not focusing too well. There you go. But yeah, so I am going to be updating videos with the new codex once it's released, doing unit reviews, a general codex review, updating you on the progress of this army as well as my other armies. I have picked up Eldar, of course, because of these guys. They were part of my original time in the hobby back in the early 2000s, and that's why there are the old metal Pathfinders and Farseer. So I have some Eldar, and I also recently started collecting some Tyranids. So if you like Tau, Eldar, and or Tyranids, I might have some interesting content for you. Or if you just love 40k and you want to get all the sorts of YouTubey goodness for your 40k addiction, I can help with that too. So, like I said, I'll be giving you updates on the Tau once they're released. I'll also be doing battle reports when I go to the friendly local gaming store, as many people do, and sharing my wins, losses, and ties with you. So, if you like the video, please like it. That will help a lot in letting me know that you are interested in hearing about any of the things I just mentioned. Also, if you want to receive immediate access to the content I upload, subscribe, and, of course, comment. Let me know what you think about my army. You think that it is really weird looking, if you don't like the color scheme, or if you think that it's ridiculous to have Pathfinders in a Tau army that are Eldar Pathfinders and not Tau Pathfinders. Let me know. Of course, if you want to compliment me and say, hey, Invasive Ramnus, I think your army is awesome, you can do that too. Alright, look forward to providing you guys with more content as the new codex comes out. I know I will be picking up at least a Riptide, probably a Flyer. We'll see what the codex says. It's not really high on my priority list to get a model that has really bad rules, like we saw in some of the Dark Angels releases, which was unfortunate. So, I will talk to you guys next time.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. We are probably in the final production run of the invasive wargaming model for the foreseeable future, so if you want to pick one of those up, head on over to Etsy and get them before they are gone. This video was made possible by my kind sponsor, so check out their link in the description below, as well as all the wonderful people over on Patreon. So if you liked this video, consider joining our community over there. Special thanks to Shifty, Durza, Everett Keller, Stephen Cowan, Jack and Acker, Jared Egler, and Scott Heater.